Yo, what up, man? You know what today is. You know what time it is. It is Wealthy Sibling, man. And why are we here? We got here to do what? Be the change and change our family's money story. Now, it's not easy being a wealthy sibling. It's not easy being a wealthy relative. The one who is on the journey for success, becomes successful, is successful. And what that looks like. But the things that we learn, the things that we discover, we are going to talk about here from guest, even me, right? But you already know when it comes to how I plan on mainly using and becoming wealthy, it's always going to be through the market, right? But today we're gonna talk about a few things, man. We're gonna talk about the complexities of the Fed chair. We're gonna talk about the new Fed chair Warsh. It's no longer Powell. And if you are a true investor, true trader, as we are here, for those who fit in that category on what he's selling, you gotta pay attention to him. You gotta see what he's going to say, right? And then the complexities of how the market fluctuates from those answers, how the market's still fluctuating from SpaceX, and the insight of the overall economy, the world economy, and the US economy. And then, lastly, not just our economy, but your own personal individual economy. And then, what are you going to be doing to make sure that you can actually reach that goal when you become the wealthy sibling, when you become the wealthy relative, to reach that financial freedom? And is streaming you the possibility for you? Can streaming you get you to the financial freedom that you want, man? So understand, investing through uncertainty, understanding where the economy may be headed, positioning yourself to be the person who capitalizes on the opportunity before anyone else sees them. Which you got to be in the game. You have to be starting. You have to be studying in order for this to happen, in order for this to work. Otherwise, you're just going to be staring at a bunch of charts, a bunch of numbers. Now, what if the next generation of wealth builders like you, those who are listening, aren't sitting on Wall Street, but they are creators, right? It's streamers, the entrepreneurs, the investors who's learning how to create their own opportunities. I kind of agree with that statement, but will that be you? You continue listening and you actionalize, right? You listen to what the show has to offer you from the insights from the trades, review the charts, and put action into the scope of becoming an investor, the scope of becoming an entrepreneur, the scope of becoming a business person, right? Now, first and foremost, my favorite segment, got to do it first. Investor insights, man. So I do investor insights because I'm giving you my insight as an investor slash trader on the overall market for me, what trades I am in, what trades I am not, and out of, and then how I overall view it, and my insight on it, right? So my current trades and what the market is telling me. So for context, right, the market continues to wrestle with interest rates. We just had the Fed chair do his speaking. That we'll talk about that a little later, but that has an impact. AI spending, government policies, and questions about whether there's going to be economical growth that can remain strong through the second half of 2026. There's skepticism there, but there's news headlines and highlights of positive possibilities. Investors are trying to determine whether or not they're going to enter another growth cycle or whether valuations have simply gotten like unrealistic, right? Ahead of the reality. AI remains dominant and still remains the talk of the town. It's going to remain the talk of the town for at least 5 years. But investors are beginning to rotate into companies that support the infrastructure in energy and cybersecurity, financial technology, and defense of the overall U.S. country, economy, and so forth. If you are a U.S. investor, now, if you live in another country, maybe you're concerned about the same foundation applies to wherever you land around the world. For those who do listen to us in other countries, but it'll just be structured to your country's economy, right? But the moving pieces are the moving pieces, and they're the moving pieces. Now we're going to talk about current positions and calls that I am currently in. First on the board is a new call we did today. It is Microsoft. We did a 480 call to August. What I do love about Microsoft and it's because we're not going to miss an opportunity. Microsoft dropped to 350, jumped all the way up to 420 in the span of a week or two, if not a few days. Microsoft today dropped down to 375 after the Fed chair spoke. Then I had a feeling that was my main thing about today outside of the morning. Now, the morning, stock shut up, pulled some money, made some money, did new plays, right? Swap some in and out. And when I seen it, I was like, yeah, it's Microsoft. It's Microsoft. But it's one of the AI leaderships through the OpenAI partnership, the partnerships that they have with NVIDIA, which is an extension of partnerships you can possibly have with SpaceX and so many others. The cloud computing growth through Azaru. It's on its enterprise software that remains critical to the overall business worldwide. A lot of people use Windows. A lot of people are still playing Xboxes. So Microsoft is definitely still in the game, ahead of the game, next to Google and NVIDIA and their correspondence in business and in AI. And you gotta love it below 400. It's at it closed at like 477. You want to know where it's at? At the time you're listening to this. And if you watch us on YouTube, go subscribe to me, Marcel Griffin, and then you can watch The Wealthy Sibling. I am your host, Marcel, as always, but I gotta let you know. Okay. So shout out to Legends. I may put a description in for you to open up a brokerage through Robinhood in the near future. But let's get to it. Was this today? This was today. This is Apple. I ain't even looking at Microsoft. I apologize, y'all. I get distracted at charts. They're like cookies to me at this point. Let's go. Okay. All righty. Show you this for those who are watching us on YouTube. Let's pull it up on the screen. And this is the chart. Okay, so make sure you guys can see this. Yep. All right. Okay, so, and this is all today. All today. So, this is a 1 hour candle. So all these colorful sticks that you see are 1 hour time frames. And this is the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hour. So it opened at 397, pulled back all the way, dropped $20. I got in at 378, that dollar range, dropped down to 377.32 to be exact on this day, June 17th, this trading day. And after hours, and a bit prior to close, it started to trend back up. Closed at 380, so went up $3. And after hours, it is trading upward towards 380. Let's draw some lines here. Horizontal lines. Okay. So a positive for me, and let's change this color. So positive for me is it's trading after hours at 381, and a strong confirmation for the new direction and its climb back up, especially with the news of like the potential deal. Will the deal hold this week? But if it breaks 385, we're off to the races to at least 390, 400. So that's a positive for me. The earlier it moves upward, the more money I will make, regardless of the call, because I am in a 480 call to August. That is a stretch for sure. And then for this to be like the last hour and the closing hour for that candle to be that strong, this is a 4 hour time period. And yeah, and it got up to 470 at the end of May. So for it to do this, it is I love it. You got to take a shot at it. It's Microsoft. Yeah, you got to take a shot at it. I love it. So let's stay here. Let's stay here while we go through this. Jack Henry, I ended up in the negative. I am in the negative on this play, but this play for me is all the way out to the end of December to get back to 160, and it was at 160 in April. I can see it getting to 150 for sure. But yeah, pull back to really one of my better entries. Because I wasn't sure, because it jumped back up to 132, 133, and I was like, man, I got the reversal. This is what it was. Yeah, right here. Was that Monday? Sunday, but it had to be on somewhere between, yeah, it was the 15th. Opened at 128, shot up to 133. So I thought the reversal was happening then overall. I think I entered it at like 29. I'm a little blue that it pulled back, but I'm in the leap as far as you can go at this point. So we're gonna see what tomorrow does. HYL, that's a leap. We're all the way out till January 2027. This actually has been doing really, really well for me. I've really been hunting leaps. The only short swings I really been doing is on like great entry companies. Again, you can't really go, for me as a trader, you can't really go wrong with a 370 entry in Microsoft. You got to take a shot. I'm not even going to hold you. But yeah, so I am hoping that this trend continues to go bullish past $10. I would love it to see it at $30. But one of the ones that I do expect to get to $20 is ONDS. ONDS is the top, is in the top 10 of utilized companies in the AI infrastructure, from the data centers to every other layer. They're in that spectrum. They got as high as $14. They got as high as $14 on June 2nd. Now let's go back 3 months, year to date. They could drop back. They're following this trend. They could drop back to $7. Worst come to worst, it's $5. Yeah. And this would be lower highs just a little bit. So it depends. This is going to be a interesting story. Do I believe that this can get back? I really do believe that this is going to be like a $30 to $50 stock. 30, especially about 20 to $30, especially about 2028. I have this to the beginning of 2028, January 2028. But the top market movers to watch that are happening right now is NVIDIA, is Microsoft, is Tesla, is Broadcom, is Palantir. As you see, all these stocks are mainly AI, if not semiconductor heavy, directly or indirectly. Palantir is AI adapting. They have a strong hold on government contracts. The biggest investment opportunities overall, though, often come from identifying what capital is flowing before headlines fully catch up, and what direction is the overall market here to serve, and that's for you. So, are you investing where the economy was yesterday? Is you late? You late to the party, or where we're going tomorrow? That's a question that you got to ask yourself as we get into the market in so many ways. Now, let's talk about it. We talked about SpaceX last week. We're talking about the play that Cathie Wood made a 200. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see. I don't know if I saved it. Saved the what's the name on my Instagram. But we'll see. We'll see. I did not. I did not. But Cathie Wood put a substantial amount of money in SpaceX, $252 million, allegedly. Like, I don't know. I forget what the article that released it overall, but that's the alleged number. And Cathie at this point has gained the respect of other traders, even before us as a new age of traders, retail investors found it out. She was stamped to some extent, right? Especially by my mentors, EYL, Red Panda. Shout out to them. But the biggest question is, some people will say that, all right, what's the ploy to this? Right? Is there I'm going to show you with my bag, I'm going to make a bigger statement with the money I have to own a stake in your company, for your reluctance to validate me as an overall investor? Or is this actual, like, general interest in what SpaceX is proposing to do for the world, literally for the world, that we call Earth, the planet Earth, and extension, like, she wants in on it. Again, SpaceX is talk with the town. The options for SpaceX are ridiculous. The projections for SpaceX are 50-50. There is a one-sided group that believes that SpaceX can get to 300, 500, 350, 500. Maybe not in this year, but they can see it. And then there's skepticism of, well, people who want to substantially grow their wealth have not had an opportunity to sell their shares. They're still waiting. So there's speculation that it could drop down to, I if this does happen, under $100, and that would be an amazing buy if you can get it under 100. But if it thrives to 500, it might only drop no lower than 2. So it depends. So But why is Cathie Wood buying more SpaceX? All right. So recent reports indicated Cathie Wood increased exposure to SpaceX related holdings, reinforcing her belief that aerospace, satellites, communication, and private innovation may become some of the largest wealth building sectors in the next decade. They're like, hey, this is where the money going, this is where the money flowing. I'm grabbing. Boom. My individual goal is to keep continuously grow my wealth. Same. While most investors are only focused on public companies, many of the world's most valuable businesses are still private. This is very, very true. Um, SpaceX has become one of the most discussed private companies because, well, public now, but previously private companies touching multiple industries simultaneously. Here, key points as to why investors love SpaceX. Starlink is one of the ones. If Starlink go public, it's one of the ones, bro. Starlink is powering continents' internet. Starlink is getting partnerships, and I think I mentioned this before, with uh, global and commercial airlines, right? Your favorite airlines use Starlink Wi-Fi internet connection. But not just that, defense contracts, commercial launches, global communication infrastructure, like I said, continents, Africa, Europe, so forth. But here's the question. What happens if Starlink eventually becomes public? The world's going to jump at it, as you see. That was a question that was sort of like answered on its own. And on top of that, how will the economy be rocked? So what happened similar from today, where we were waiting on the Fed chair, and we're going to talk about this, Kevin Warsh and his economic outlook. Uh, on Friday when SpaceX opened, everybody pulled any money that they could to get into it, right? I think a lot of people believe that this can be a $500 stock to $1,000 stock, right? I think they're like, yo, if Elon can do it once with Tesla, they believe he can do it again with SpaceX, right? Not mad at him. So now let's talk about what's still impacting the economy, because not everybody is investing in SpaceX, right? Cathie Wood, she got her own bag, she got her own lane, she can do that. We have to be aware of like, well, all right, with all this stuff going on, with the Iran war, with all this going on, what are we going to do for the everyday people to maintain the spending habits and to maintain the cash flow and wages with everything that's going on in the world? Because gas is still up above $5, depending upon what state you're in. Some say $7. If it's diesel, I know truck drivers, I think they ride on diesel, so $7 for sure for them, or up to $7. Don't quote me on that. But Kevin Walsh overall, don't quote me on these things, but these things I mentioned throughout this current press. His economic outlook, right? So the new Fed chair faces several challenges: inflation concerns, that's the overall economy, energy costs, consumer spending, and economic growth. Things are becoming more expensive. Can you create economic growth in order to maintain this avalanche of inflation, right? Energy, my lights, studio is costing me money, right? And with consumer spending, we still have to maintain. So we're still going to be spending the same things we were spending on last year. So milk, eggs, cookies, groceries, gas. Like, how are we going to manage this with all these things that are going on? So the Federal Reserve remains cautious because lowering rates too quickly could reignite inflation. Inflation's already ignited, but each his own. And I think they're trying to maintain it the best that they can, however you can. So holding rates too high for too long can slow economic growth. Three things to watch. Overall inflation is still, in fact, impacting consumers, so us as everyday people. Interest rates impacting borrowing money and business expansions. Yes. I am not trying to pay 15% interest on $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, $100,000. My best idea I'm trying to pay 5, if that. Employment is still scarcity to the everyday people, but the job reports or speculations on the upcoming the recent job reports state on paper that they're strong indicators of economical health, right? Or economic health. Who knows? My personal opinion is we're gonna have to see what the world looks like in about 3 years. I don't know if this economical health will maintain, which is why we have this show. Get into it, start your business, go with the flow of where the economy is moving, make money, and keep it going. Right now, the economy isn't moved by headlines; it's moved by money, policies, and consumers and behavior. Signature question well, here's a question for you. Will the next economy boom come from AI energy or private innovation? My money's on AI. My money's on AI. Straight like that. Now, what could be economical boom for you, and if you support me on starting this as a club, streamer you. Yes, your boy, your host of the Wealthy Sibling, apply for streamer you 2 times. But I understand the value of content creation. Content creation became a staple about 5 years ago, and for those who took advantage of it wholeheartedly, in 2 manners. One still has a pillar to stand on to give this next round of content creation a go at it, but the others really took off. But could streaming you be a pathway to financial freedom for you? Many creators are dreaming about getting into streaming you. Shout out to Casanova for actually doing streaming you application as a person. That was a really, really dope way to elevate the brand to get people to come back because that wasn't done the first time. Most people submitted their video, they got selected from the video, and they came to Stream University, wherever it was. This time people pulled up. They pulled up in masses. I'm talking about everybody from the Midwest, the East Coast, the West Coast, down South, everybody. And he did it in, I think, New York, LA, and one in Georgia. Shout out to everybody in Georgia. Shout out to all the Black excellence that get hosted in Georgia. But a lot of people have become successful from streaming, being influencers, content creators. But what happens after the money arises? This was the biggest thing for me. Most people will get this opportunity and they think it's the end all be all. It's for me, it's a major thing that you have to pay attention to. It's no different from if you're an artist, a musical artist, and the label that you always wanted to come knocking, they come knocking. And they give you this money. And then after you get this money, you just go wild. I think for a lot of creators who they dream to get the 6-figure brand deal, but they're going to squander it. And me being a creator who has monetization value and we do this, like we're investors. So we like, hey, yo, where this money going? Where this money flowing? This is what we're trying to build on the back end for sure. As an owner, as an entrepreneur, it's like, if you do make it, keep it. And there's leverage in being able to be self-sustaining. So you don't have to keep answering with when they call. Now you have the choice of it. I'll give you an example like this. If you are more financially aware, right, and you have the financial knowledge that I would bring to creating this wealth club and being on Stream University's playground and the field and the concourse, I think that you could end up being one of those creators that are like the ones that have the choice, being number one on the call sheet, right? Think of it as an actor. I'm number one on the call sheet. I have the choice of what movies that I want to make because I'm not upholding. I'm doing the work because I love doing the work, not because I need to work. And it could be the same thing with content creation. I'm making the content because I love the work, not because I need the money that the brand or the person giving me the opportunity to collab with them and make content for them is offering me. Now I'm not just beholden to just doing whatever. It's doing what I believe in that morally aligns with me and my brand. And now we running for the horses straight like that. Straight like that. So for me, that's what it is, right? And I think that economic club or wealth club, the concept, um, is the goal to keep us learning, keep us ahead of the game. Because many young people, they never learn about investing, they never learn about business ownership, they never learn about wealth preservation, and they don't learn about financial literacy overall. So I believe the concept, while we're getting in the game, you can be prepared and say, hey, this is the deal you want. Because you can go on Instagram, you can go on their I think they call it a creator profile or projects, right? And you can see what they have to offer you. Most people will only look at the offer for the video or the offer for the contract. Hey, I'll give you $500 to do this. But most of them be like, oh man, I need that $500. Click, sign, agree, gone. But in order for you to get that $500, they want you to do a story post. They want you to do 3 reels. They want you to do a public post. That's to stay up for 30 days. They want you to follow this 4 or 500. And there are some brands that, hey, I need 1 reel, 300 flat. But because we're money hungry and not financially savvy, even in content creation, we'll take the 500 and try to do all the work. And the whole litigation is, did you just submit the work on time? Did you follow the outlines of the contract? And now you ain't got no money. But you was first up, first come, first serve when they offered you the brand deal, right? Now, what are these opportunities, bro? The opportunities continue to show up in streaming, brand deals, sponsorship, entrepreneurship, and investing. I want every content creator to become an investor on the back end. That'd be amazing. But what do you do once the opportunity actually arrives? Like, what will actually happen? So, for me, what will the club actually teach through the sessions? What we'll talk about, chop it up about the overall market. We're going to talk about the market because I think you should start there. With stocks, ETFs, options, and long-term wealth building. That's where we'll outline. Hey, do you want your brand to be a value meal, or do you want your brand to be 8 figures? Because those are 2 different things, and you have to establish that going into entrepreneurship. When we talk in that manner, business ownership, branding, marketing, and monetization. And then wealth preservation is while you're making this money, when you're under contract, to some extent, I believe you would fall in the realm and quote your direct business consultant, but you fall in the world of like a freelancer, which is a 1099 or work for hire, which is sometimes that they do with structured workers. W That's not a W-2. I think it's a 1099 too, but it's a work for hire form. And when you do that, they write it off. Well, I don't think they write it off as the tax, but it's a deduction for paying you for the services, right? That you're rendering them. They can write it off as a deduction. For you, it will be income, and it's not under the table because it's filed by the company. So pay attention. If you are a content creator and you accept a brand deal or monetization project, on paper, it's going to state that a company paid you 500. This is not you getting paid under the table, and Uncle Sam doesn't know you made the 500. They know because the company is writing off the service as an overall deduction, and they could file it under marketing, right? It's their marketing budget, and they're paying you as an actor or whatever the case is, right? It's going to be filed that you made the income. So wealth preservation is very, very strong when it comes to taxes, retirement accounts, emergency funds. I'm going to be very direct with you. If you get sick, most people will not care. That's major companies to the person next door. So you have to care. And then asset ownership. Put all this energy into other people, but you haven't put energy into your own assets. Why does this matter? Many people spend years trying to get the opportunity. Few people spend time preparing for what happens when the opportunity arrives. So if you want the Wealth Club to be a part of Stream University, hey, tag Kai. Tag Stream University. Put me in the game, coach. And I'm telling you, I'm putting everybody on. And people think they got it. No, you gathered a bag, but we going tomorrow. Did you pay your house off fully? Right? Did you put it in trust? Did you put it in a will? Why aren't you listening to Wealthy Siblings? This is what we do. We do this. Now, wealth isn't created from the opportunity alone. I want you to understand that. It's created from when you prepare and when you meet it. Straight like that. Now, lastly, before we go, appreciate everybody. Appreciate iHeart. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Grab the book Trade I Made if you want to start this outline, just like if you were fresh coming into high school, out of high school. Let's get to it. But the market continues rewarding innovation, infrastructure, and technology. SpaceX is representing and going strong into the public, but there's still skepticism there. The Federal Reserve the Federal Reserve decisions overall, like that was a big thing for the market today because we wasn't sure what was going to happen. But he's saying that he's focused on the economical growth, and that is good for business. When you hear, well, I'm focused on the growth of the economy and stabilizing it at least, right? We didn't get the rate cut, but it doesn't sound horrible, right? So that's something we can sit with as entrepreneurs and business owners. I'm like, all right, I can sit with that because there's a lot of things going on, but there's also a lot of positives. But then lastly, Stream University, right? The highlight is you can build your financial freedom from this opportunity. This is true. We've seen one streamer become a sort of like news anchor and sports personality straight from streaming you. Like it's happening, collaboration, so forth. And then financial literacy is determine whether you actually want the opportunity to become wealthy. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, man, as always, like, share, subscribe. We would love for you to join the Wealthy Sibling family, and we continue to discuss investing, entrepreneurship, all these things for ownership and building generational wealth to do what? Change our family money story, right? If you want to get the overall insight and the guide to that every choice could change your financial future, grab a trade I made off of Amazon. Grab a trade I made from Amazon so you can start the journey. And you can hear it straight from me because I'm going to tell you, hey, if these are the circumstances that you grew up with or that you walked into sometime later in life, this is the best way for you to handle that. This is the best way for you to get your first car, so forth and so on, man. That being said, appreciate y'all. I'm your boy Marcel. This is Wealthy Sibling. All right, make sure you go listen on iHeart. Appreciate y'all. Much love. Bad.